Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What is up, gang? How are we doing today? Today I am doing two forms of audio because sometimes I like to look away, and whenever I do that, this mic just doesn't pick it up because I don't know, this mic sucks. I gave away my old mic, and I kind of wish I hadn't done that because I think the audio on my old mic was better. I was really hopeful because this looks so fancy and cool that it would fill all my hopes and dreams, and it just hasn't done that. It just hasn't filled all my hopes and dreams even a little bit. So yeah, I bought this offline, and it probably also sucks, but you know, what are you gonna do? But that's not really the point of the video today. The point of the video of today is comic books. I've decided to start reading comic books because we're on this DC journey together, I feel like, right? We're watching the live actions. I've started watching the animated movies as well. Um, you know, I've got all these shows that I'm watching: Superman and Lois, Smallville, The Penguin, Creature Commanders. Um, so like I've kind of got like a whole DC thing going on. I've got a few MCU stuff, and if anyone wants to suggest MCU comics, you definitely can, and I will give them a go and read them. I honestly would love to read some X-Men comics if anyone has like good recommendations of where to start, and which stories are really good and what I might appreciate, and things of that nature. So if you want to give me that, that would be fantastic. I would love that. But that is not what we're doing today. Today we're discussing the last Krypton, or the last son of Krypton, I think is the full name of it. Which this I found free. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, let me give it a go. Um, and I thought we would just kind of discuss it. I would put up some panels of like what happens in certain areas and things of that nature. This started, I believe, when I read like the descriptor of it, it was 1938 to 2011. I think is when, because it's like all of the stories put together. Of course, it's not just like one of the small ones. It's like the whole thing. Um, so yeah, it and the way it ends is kind of weird because it doesn't end with really anything to do with the last son of Krypton, in my opinion. But that's not really the point, I guess. Um, so let's just start from the beginning, I suppose, right? In the beginning, we're talking with, Clark and Lois and at the Daily Planet, and they're just like discussing the news and things of that nature. And Superman, of course, hears. He hears like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Ah. And what is it? It's a spacecraft falling. Spacecraft. And what's inside? But a boy. Um, so we've deduced that it's a space boy, of course, right? I hope we did. Um, so Clark takes him to this like facility because he's working with the government in some way, and they're like kind of testing his abilities, and he seems to be like gaining intelligence very quickly, and he's really strong. He's able to lift like this it's like a filing cabinet, I guess. And the Superman's like, it was like 300 pounds. I think he might be. And they're like, well, we got to do more tests because we're not sure yet. So that happens, and then they have like a really sweet moment where like Superman's he's like, don't leave me, Superman. I'm kind of scared. And they're talking in Kryptonian because the kid knows Kryptonian. So like, wink, wink, he's Kryptonian. But the guys are still like, we got to do more tests. He could be something else. And I'm like, oh well, maybe. I mean, but So, um, Superman's like, you know what, kid? I'll be here when you go to sleep, and I'll be here when you wake up. And he says that, and like the kid like goes to sleep, and it's really sweet. And like Superman flies off, and he talks to Lois Lane. He's like, I can feel it. I think he's a son of Krypton like myself. And they bring up Kara. They're like, well, last year we found Kara, so I mean, who's to say that there weren't others that were able to escape the planet when it exploded? So like, I mean, I see Superman's logic because Kara only came in like a year ago, so this makes sense. Um, so he goes back to the facility the next day, and it's like wiped out. There's nobody in the facility. They completely cleared it all, and he's like, what the heck? So he goes to like this government place. I don't know what they called it. I don't know if it's the DOD or what it is in this universe, because it didn't really tell me. But he goes to like a government facility, and he's like, where is he? He's got like the red eyes. He's like, where is the kid? And the guy's like, I thought they told you. And he's like, they didn't tell me anything. And later you see like Superman literally stops the convoy with the boy in it and like takes him. So yeah, my lights, so you can see my face a little bit. Come on, turn back on. Thank you. So yeah, he takes him and he ends up on the doorsteps of, that's right, Martha and Jonathan Kent. And he's like, so what did you guys do when a spacecraft landed in your cornfield? And they're like, oh, Jesus, you got a kid there. And then he's like, yeah, I'm, and he's like, I think I'm going to raise this kid. And they're like, that's a lot of responsibility. And Lois is like, we always said we weren't going to have kids. We're not kid people. And, Clark's like, I know, but, who else does he have? He needs somebody. Why not me? Right? So they name him Chris, and the story is that he's their like cousin's kid or like uncle's kid or something like that, and they're taking care of him. And they, for some reason, immediately take him to the office, which, I mean, I guess you could do that to introduce your kid, but I wouldn't. If I had a kid, I wouldn't be like, let me bring it to my work and show everybody. But I guess this was 1938. It's a different time. What do I know? Okay? I believe we're getting into the next chapter-ish here, or book or whatever. So in this one, Lex sees the news, and he looks over his shoulder. You don't see what he looks at, but he's like, I want you to get that boy for me. And who does he look at? Who is it? Who shows up? Bizarro Superman. Bizarro Superman shows up. And he actually kind of has he looks different than most depictions I've seen of like recent years, I guess, for what Bizarro looks like, because he kind of has the look of like Gray the Thing, like, what the Thing looks like, but he's gray, like his skin's all cracked. I mean, it has hair and he's wearing the Superman shirt and all that, but like his skin's cracked, like it looks like rock almost, which with him being gray, it really looks kind of like that. But yeah, he shows up, and of course he starts destroying stuff, and like he picks up Chris, and he's like almost breaks his arm, and then like throws him into this bus. Of course, Chris is fine. He's got like he's got the abilities of Superman as well. And Superman, of course, he defeats Bizarro because it's Superman. So he defeats Bizarro, and Lois like finds Chris in the bus, and she picks him up, and she looks at Superman. She goes, "Okay, I want to try it. Let's see if we can be parents." And it's like this really sweet moment, right? And then the last panel is what? Other spaceships falling. Multiple spaceships falling to the planet Earth. And who is it? Anyone want to put a guess in? Who wants to put a guess in? You got 5 seconds. It's Zod! It's Zod! It's Zod and his gang. Except it's not just 3. It's more. It's a lot more. And they come down and they immediately have... So it seems what I've caught on to, and I don't know if this was just a Man of Steel thing, but it seems like, because Smallville also does this, and maybe other comics are a little different too, but they don't really have to like get control of their powers. They kind of do it almost immediately. So I don't know if back in the day the moment they touched foot on Earth, they were like, I have abilities, easy peasy lemon squeezy, no problem. That kind of seems like what the vibe is. But they come down and they like beat up Superman, and is it Ursa? I don't. It's Zod's girl. Shows up and she's like, "Let go of my son." What is that? What? Chris? That boy? Guess what? Zod and Ursa's kid. but they've been treating him bad. They've been kind of abusing him and not treating him really well. And they were in the Phantom Zone, and they actually used him to get out of the Phantom Zone because he was able to do things that they weren't in the Phantom Zone because he was born in there, I guess, is what they were saying, kind of. So they used him as kind of like a portal situation to get the rest out. And so they're kidnapping everyone. They got Kara, they got Wonder Woman, they got all the superheroes, and where do they put them? Dun da da da! They put them in the Phantom Zone with Superman as well. And so they're all in the Phantom Zone, and like Superman's like kind of not doing great there because it's literally like a time freeze where like your mind can go but you can't do anything. And then a character shows up. I think they call him Mon-El. And they give you a little backstory on Mon-El, which is that he was, I'm pretty sure, from what I remember from Kara, there's a twin planet to Krypton that also is destroyed during Krypton's whole explodey thing. And he's from there, but instead of kryptonite, it's lead. Lead is like his weakness, and he gets like lead poisoning, and he starts dying. So it's because of that, because Superman and him, like, they were having fun, they were being friends, they were saving the world, and then Mon-El got sick, and Superman was like, he was the only person that was an innocent that went to the Phantom Zone because it kept him in stasis, so the lead poisoning wouldn't kill him until Superman could find a cure for it. And he was like, I've let you down, Mon-El, I'm so sorry. And Mon-El's like, that's not the problem right now, we need to get you out of here, like, this isn't good. Superman has this fight with this guy that's in there, and of course he defeats him because Superman. And then Superman's able to get out. Of course, Mon-El can't because poisoning. And Superman goes to Lex Luthor, and he's like, Lex, my guy, my man, I know you've got some tools in here to destroy Kryptons. And Lex is like, you bet your ass I do, buddy. And he like kind of punches him, and he's like, and Superman's all like, okay, you've proven your point. Can you help me take down the other Kryptons? And Lex like, yeah, let me show you the gang. Who's the gang, you might ask? It's Bizarro. It's I had their names. I looked them up just so I would remember them, and I have forgotten them. But it's Bizarro, and then it's like he can like suck your life out. He's like I don't fudge cakes and applesauce. Guys, I had this, and then I don't. Give me a second. Let me just. Boop. I can find it. I can find the panel. Where's the panel at? I can find this panel. No problem. I'm gonna edit all this out so you can't see it, and then we'll get to the nitty gritty of it all. Okay, so we're in the Phantom Zone. He takes Wonder Woman. Blah blah blah. Ah, here we go. Okay. Here's the gang. The gang's all here. Where are the names of the gang? I need the names. Here we go. Okay. Parasite and Metello, the man with the kryptonite heart, now equipped with much more than that. So that's the gang who helps Superman, on top of with Lex, of course. So Superman goes and he's fighting Zod, and then the other ones are like just fighting random Kryptonians that are around, and you learn that freaking Metello, he's got a couple of different kryptonites in him. He's like pew pew, and he's like taking down Kryptons like it's nothing. It was really fun to watch. And then Lex goes and he's like in what do you call it? The Solitude, the place that Superman goes to, like, hang his cape, as they say. That's a Man of Steel reference, sorry. I know. But Lex is in there and he's like reversing the polarity so like the other heroes that are trapped in the Phantom Zone can get out, and he like lets out Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batman, all of them, and they're also fighting because now that Superman showed up, they can fight Kryptons like it's nothing. They're like, yeah, So that happens. Of course, they and then Lex is like, again, he's like reversing the polarity, blah, 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 and he's like, we're gonna send those boys back to the Phantom Zone, and I'm like, that's an option. So they send them back, but of course, when they send them back, it's just sending anyone that was already there kind of situation, and it takes Chris, the boy, and Clark's like, no, and like later on in a different panel, you learn that like Monel is looking for him, but he can't find him. He's like, the Phantom Zone is huge. Like, I can see if I can find him, but he's not where Zod and them are. So we know that at least he's not with them. So that's good. My computer just went down again. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, don't do that. So that happens. Now, there is like a panel mentioned in this thing where Zod's like, if your father had just joined us, we could have saved Krypton. It's your father's fault. I was there when Brainiac attacked and we fought him back, right? They say that. So that's an important bit because the next chapter is about Brainiac. And this one, I didn't really understand how it went along with the last son of Krypton because Chris isn't in any of this last part. But yeah, so we open up with a panel and it's like Zod and his group on Krypton, and they like see these Terminator looking guys come up and they're like killing people heckin' hard. And he like puts a dome over something and just whoop, and they disappear. Nobody, it's gone. Nothing there. But they're able to so usually when Brainiac, a little lore on the Brainiac, I might say, whenever he takes like specimens from a society, he'll usually just like destroy the planet after. And so yeah. And I can't really remember if that's the reason Krypton dies or not, because he destroys the sun, because he does mention something about destroying the sun and it like doing that, but I don't know how long it took to destroy Krypton. So Brainiac might be the reason that Krypton dies, but I can't remember for facts in this one, but I think it is. But that whole thing happens, and then we go to Earth. Earth is there, and Earth, one of those Terminator guys shows up, and he's like fighting Clark, and he's able to get Clark to bleed. Actually, he's fighting Superman. He's fighting Superman, and Superman like starts bleeding, and the robot's like, blood, boop, and he skedaddles on out of here. And Superman's like, oh man, that looked like one of Brainiac's dudes. What the heck, I thought I already fought him. I haven't read this comic book, so I don't know. I'm guessing there's stuff beforehand, or another writer. I don't know. I don't know why this is part of this, is the problem. But that's not the point. The point is, it goes back to Brainiac's ship, which is a big skull with little thingies. I've seen Brainiac Lego movie. Lego games. He is in the... Fudge. Is Brainiac the one that's in the Villains DC Lego thing? Or is he in Batman 3? Because I can't remember. I can't remember, but that's not the point. The point is he's in one of the Lego things. Also, in the animated cartoon I watched, Twister, the voice actor who does Twister, also does the voice for Brainiac in the Lego game that I'm talking about, which you guys can discover for yourself. But yeah, it's a fun little tidbit that I recognize his voice almost immediately because I've played those Lego games so much. But yeah. What was I saying? Superman goes and he's like talking to Kara, and Kara's like, oh my god, you weren't there when this happened, but I remember it. So I kind of feel like he is the reason Krypton kind of explodes. Because they send Kara away too. Of course, she gets lost in space before showing up, as like a full adult. So, they changed that because in Supergirl, which I've seen at least the first season of, when it happens to Supergirl, she shows up as kind of not like a baby like Clark did, but like she's like 10 when she shows up, and Clark said that it had only been a year, and she looks like an adult. I could be wrong. I don't know. No, wait, I'm forgetting something. My apologies. So, Krypton is destroyed. And then they go to, like, this other place whose name I can't remember, and they, like, set up a force field on that location, but Brainiac shows up and also destroys it, and that's when they send Kara off to go with, to go to the Earth. So that's what happens. I forgot about that. That happens later. But Superman gets in a spaceship, which apparently he has a spaceship. Here's a spaceship right here. He gets in the spaceship and he's like, I am gonna go find Brainiac and destroy him because, like, Kara is, like, so terrified and scared of it. Like, it's like it really, like, freaked her out. So Superman's like, my cousin's not gonna be, no. I'm gonna go destroy Brainiac. So he goes to Brainiac's place and he actually finds him, and he gets in and he starts, like, banging stuff. He's like, blah, blah, and he's, like, destroying stuff. And of course Brainiac's like, no, and he, like, and he puts him in this tube thing, and he's, like, doing experiments on him. Of course, Superman, you can't get him down. He's hope, my friend. So he's like, and he, like, breaks out, and, like, him and Brainiac say something, and Brainiac's like, I take the knowledge from all the planets that I do this to, and I keep them here. And, like, you see, like, all these, like, tubes. Here's a picture of tubes. Of these tubes that, like, have just, like, cities in them that he's shrunken, that he keeps on his thing, and he just takes all their knowledge and he puts it in the brain. He's like, I have so many knowledges of planets. That's word for word what I just said, what he said. So, so, like, Superman kind of does something and he, like, kind of hurts Brainiac, but it's not enough to really, because, like, it's not enough. And Brainiac, of course, retaliates, and he's like, let me see how many planets I can put in your brain, Superman. And he's like, and I'm gonna kill your cousin. He's like, meh. So, he does that, and, like, he's, like, also attacking. Brainiac starts attacking the planet with his Terminators, okay? And he also sends something to the sun so it'll explode and destroy everything. And he's also like, this planet is primitive. I don't want any of its knowledge. I'm just gonna destroy it. And that's what he does. Well, he doesn't do that. Kara's like, I can't let Superman do this alone. So she goes up to Brainiac's place and she starts, like, destroying stuff too. And then, like, Superman's like, you gotta go stop that thing going to the sun that's gonna destroy the planet. You can do this. And she's like, I can't, I don't know. And he's like, yes, you can do this. And she's like, oh my god, I can do this. And then she, like, flies off to go stop that, right? Right? And then Superman's like, Brainiac, you ever left this spaceship? And Brainiac's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you're about to today. And he, like, punches him out of the spaceship, and he falls into, like, a swamp. And, like, apparently that's Brainiac's kryptonite, swamp, because he is not having a good time. He's like, oh my god, I can't. And he's like, the microbes are on him, and he's like, I can feel everything. And it's really traumatizing to him. It's also how they defeat him, I guess. But he's also like, if they're not in in this panel, Superman is holding two glass cities. I'm pretty sure one's Krypton and one is Kara's. Oh, Brainiac has Kara's dad and mom in one of the tubes, in one of the things. That's important. And Brainiac's like, ha ha ha, fool. What you don't know is once these leave my ship, they become actual size. And Superman's like, thanks for the tip. And he flies off, and he, like, finds a location where they can go, like, right? Also, once they defeat everything, because, like, you know, Kara, of course, she gets the spacecraft so it doesn't explode the sun and like all this, and they save the day. And then Jonathan Kent has a heart attack and dies, and you're like, no, Jonathan, no, don't do this, don't die, Jonathan, no. So Jonathan dies of a heart attack, which is something Superman, of course, can't stop, which makes sense. Man of Steel, take notes. So they're at the funeral. It's really sad. There's like a panel of like Superman just killing Brainiac, but like it's just like what's happening in his mind. And he's like, I don't know. He's like talking to Lois. And he's like, Lois, I just don't know what to do without him. And, you know, Lois is like, just remember his memories, you know, remember him in his memories and, you know, the things you'll say when people die. And he's like, yeah. And then I will say there was like a panel like 3 chapters ago where, you know, Superman's like, I don't know what to do. And he's like talking to his dad, and his dad was like, I always knew you were going to be special. And he like opens up this box, and it's like all these memories of like the things that, you know, when he was growing up and when they were raising him and things that happened. There's like a busted baseball bat from when he like hit it, and it like went all the way across the fields and all this stuff. And in that scene, he takes a horseshoe and he like puts like best dad ever. And he's like, here, put it for the box. And he's like, you know, love you, dad. So that scene happened. That's why this scene is kind of emotional. Because then you see him and he goes in there and he's like, he opens up the box and he sees it. Oh, and like he's crying and he's like, I miss you, dad. And I'm like, because it's really sad. But yeah, and that's where it ends. That's the last Krypton from 1938 to 2011. Which I will say, I think they improved. They probably redid the art, because the ones that I would say are from 1938, the art just looks pretty good. Which, I mean, I don't want to say I don't know if they were doing colored panels in 1938. I'm not sure how that works. I did want to say that the story is made, or the writer, sorry, is Goff Johns, Richard, and Richard Donner. I don't know if that's one person because there's no apostrophes or anything. But yeah, so I'm gonna say it's Goff Jones, and Richard Donner are the writers, and then the artists are Adam Kubert, Gary Frank, and John Sybil. So yeah. But yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I read it in like not even a day. It was a pretty fast. Comic books are pretty fast to read, and I mean, I read manga, so like I'm used to just reading like that. Of course, when you read manga, you read the other way. But yeah, but tell me how you thought, how you feel about it. If you enjoy this series, put down in the comments how you feel. I'll try to refine it a little bit. I know I was a little all over the place, but I really wanted to get this done. I was excited to talk about this comic. Again, put your suggestions down. I want suggestions. I am about to go to my local kind of like flea market situation, and we also have a comic book store here as well. So I thought I would kind of just start collecting here and there. So I would love suggestions on what I should start with, what I should be collecting, what I should read. I did have a comment on my Man of Steel video. I believe I've mentioned this in the other video, but I don't think that one's going to come out before this. I think this will come out before then, so. But I'm going to try and find The Death of Superman. He said that it was a really good comic and that I should read that, so that is probably going to be my next on the list if I can find it. Sadly, it's not one of the ones that's on Kindle Unlimited, so I couldn't read it immediately, so I found this one instead. But yeah, I would like some MCU, some DC, but you can also do other things that aren't either of those. You can just hit me with comics that are neither of those. I might give it a go. Invincible. I thought about kind of doing Invincible and also like doing the anime as well. Like maybe we read the first one and then we do the first chapter, or the first season, I mean, or something like that. It's up to you guys. I won't be reading The Boys, so if you put it in the suggestions, know now it won't be read. So yeah. But yeah, that is It's the last son of Krypton. It was really good. And I think that's all. I really am appreciative of everyone that comes by and says hello during these things. I hope the audio sounds okay and not like actual garbage. And I'll see you in the next one. Like, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Like it. Comment it. Tell me your thoughts and your feelings. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.